That is for 100% sure. In exams, on any one of the landforms, you may get the question. Question may arise, like it may arise in the water, wind, sea, or volcanic. Any one of them, the landforms. Okay. So this is a very important concept, and I think till Saturday, next on 12th, you have got the internals. Okay. So 12th, you have got the internals. So till 11th, what I do will be there for your internals. Okay. So that the portions are completed are very less. And if possible, tomorrow I'll take two classes, one in the afternoon also. Okay. I'll send the link, and we shall take a combined class, a special class. Okay. So that we shall wrap up some of the information that is required for the, at least for the internals. Okay. So today we shall start our discussion on the landforms. Okay. So this concept which deals with the study of the landforms are called as a physical geology. So physical geology is a branch of geology which deals with the study of the features that are created on the surface of the earth by the natural agencies. Okay. So you know that there are certain natural agencies, like you've got wind, you've got water, you've got air, you've got glaciers, you've got the ice. All these forms the natural agencies. Okay. So those natural agencies, when they move on the surface of the earth, they rearrange or alter the surface of the earth. Okay. You know, whenever the river flows, it creates some valleys. Okay. Whenever the river flows, it creates some valleys. And also, whenever there is a mountain, you know that it is a syncline. Okay. It creates a valley like formations at the margins. So whenever the wind blows, the wind is being blowing at a very high speed, it carries some amount of the particles along with them. So all these are dealt with the physical geology. Okay. Based on these types, there are two important ones. One is epigene or the hypogene. Okay. Epigene process is that which occurs on the surface of the earth. Okay. Hypogenes process are those which occur in the internal part of the earth. Okay. Hypogene process are the ones that occur in the internal part of the earth, and hypogene process, epigene process are the ones that occur on the surface of the earth. Okay. Earthquakes, volcanoes are formed in the internal part of the earth, and that's why they are classified under hypogene process. And blowing wind, running water, they are all formed on the surface of the earth, and hence they are classified under epigene process. Okay. So epigene process, what happens is, it always tend to reduce the surface of the earth to a continuous and a gradual slope without any irregularity. Okay. So now the epigene process are always responsible for the continuation and a formation of gradational slope along the earth surface. Okay. This process where it is a continuous and a gradual slope of the land masses is being formed or developed are called as gradation. Okay. So what happens is, highlands, due to the running water, wind erosion, they form the small flat surfaces. Okay. Small mounds which are found over the period of time, when it is exposed to huge rainfall, huge temperature and pressure, and also huge amount of wind velocity, then those particles are broken down from the mounds and they tend to become flatlands. Okay. So that process where it forms a sloping lands are being brought down into straight form or a flat land, that process is called as gradation process. Okay. So whenever the reduction in the altitude of the mountains, you know that highlands are being broken down and they're formed into flatlands. Okay. That process where the highlands are being broken down and they are made into a straight land or a flat lands, that process is called as degradation. And sometimes the basins or the valleys, okay, So where there are potholes, valleys, or the basins that are being filled with the running material of the earth, that process where the earth materials are being deposited into that lands is called as aggradation. Okay, so gradational process is very important one. It may be asked in the question examinations for the write a note on gradation process. Okay, gradation process means it is a development of the continuous and gradual slope of land masses. Okay, so wherever the highlands are being reduced into flatlands, that process is called as degradation, and the basins or valleys are being filled up with earth materials due to process of deposition is called as aggradation. The combination of both degradation and aggradation forms the gradation process. Okay, so then coming to the transporting agencies and the types of the deposits, you can see these are certain transporting agencies which are responsible, like the rivers. You know that rivers, when they flow, they form the alluvial deposits. Whenever the lakes flow, it is called lacustrine deposits. Whenever the sea is a transporting agency, it forms the marine deposits. Wind is a transporting agency, form aerial deposits, and glaciers, they form the glacial deposits. Okay, so now today we shall look at the geological work of the wind, how wind forms the landforms. Okay, how the wind creates the landforms. Okay, so velocity and direction of the flow of the wind always influence the climatic conditions and rainfall of any area. So in so in the Thar desert, the velocity of the wind is very high, that is the dry winds. So that's why you do not get any type of rainfall, you get fewer rainfall. In tropical region, what happens is the wind that blows is containing the moist air. Okay, whenever the moist air hits the mountains, it creates a rainfall in that area. Okay, so the impact of the blowing wind itself creates the waves on the surface of the sea, and these in turn they dash against the shore and gradually mold the shore. Okay, so wind is also responsible for the erosion of the rocks, the transportation of the rocks, and also the deposition of the transported particles. Okay, so wind is also responsible for all these things. Wind is also responsible for the erosion of the rocks, the transportation of the products, and also the deposition of the transported products. Okay, so how we shall look at the wind erosion, how exactly it takes place. So wind erosion, what happens is the blowing wind generally causes the erosion in three ways. One is deflation, abrasion, and attrition. Okay, deflation, abrasion, and attrition. So you know that loose soil particles or the rock particles are always lifted up by the and swept away due to the impact of the blowing wind. Okay, so where the removal of the loose particles, only the hard rocks are exposed in their original positions, which are further exposed for erosions. Okay, so only the top layer of the soil, that is the loose particles that is present within the soil, are removed due to the blowing wind. Okay, so this process of removal of the loose soil or rock particles during the storms or higher wind velocity along the course of the blowing wind is called as deflation. Okay, so a very good example is the ones near the oasis. The ones near the oasis, you can see how exactly the wind erosion occurs very close to the oasis. Okay, so what happens is those places where the winds move and remove the top layer of the soil, that is the loose layer of the soil is being removed. Okay, loose layer of the soil, you know that the top layer of the soil is always very loose, it can be removed very easily. Okay, so only the top soil is being removed here without much consent. So coming to the next, you know that loose particles which are lifted up, they are transported by the blowing wind. They have the tendency to jump up and collide with any exposed rock which are lying on their path of travel. Okay, so what happens is whenever the particles are traveling, there is often collisions among themselves, the wind particles, windborne particles, and the bare rock exposures, so which results in the grinding effect of the rock particles. Okay, whenever the wind is being blowing at a very high speed, the particles are removed from the loose soil, they are blown away, and during which the particles tend to hit the particles or the colliding particles against one another which come along their path. Okay, so that process of wear and tear of the exposed rock is called as abrasion. Like in a place, if there is some rock particles being found, okay, if there are certain rock particles that are being found, so wind, what happens is usually they travel. Whenever they travel all along the course of the wind, so there are some country rocks that are being present within the travel. Okay, so those country rocks are usually very hard enough, this blowing wind goes and hits them, so the country rocks are further exposed for abrasion action. Okay, so that process where the exposed country rock are being exposed to the wear and tear of by the blowing wind is called as abrasion. Okay, so abrasion, wind is a very powerful agent for rubbing and abrading when naturally loaded with sand and dust particles. Okay, so this type of the erosion always involves, what happens is, rubbing, grinding, and also the polishing of the rock surfaces by any natural agent. Okay, with the help of its load while passing over the rocks, which is called as wind abrasion. So it is this which is responsible for the numerous features on land surface, like the pedestral rocks, yardangs, ventifacts, and the desert pavements. So you can see the pedestral rocks. These are the mushroom rocks that are being found in the deserts. Okay, so these are often called as a mushroom rocks. Pedestral rocks are also called as a mushroom rocks because they tend to look like the mushrooms. Okay, so the wind is blowing in only one direction, so only on this part at the lower bottom it has been eroded, whereas the top surface, the wind blowing is not at a very high speed, so the speed is always taken at this part, at the lower part or the lower surface of the rock body, so only this much portion is being eroded, whereas the top portion is intact. Okay, so coming to the yardangs, these are the ones which are found on the deserts. Okay, so the blowing wind, what happens is always blowing at only one direction, unidirectional, so which creates the formation of the ones rocks in the form of a triangular like features which are found in the deserts. Okay, so coming to the ventifacts are the very sharp edges ones. The ventifacts are the sharp edges rocks that are being found in the deserts due to wind erosion, abrasion. Okay, so desert pavements, you can see the pavements of the deserts. During the deserts also, what happens is, during the wind blow, the speed of the wind, it as the velocity and the speed of the wind increases, you can see the surface is being molded off into a smoother edges. Okay, so these are the four important ones of the abrasions. So next is the attrition. What happens is, in attrition, the sand grains and the other particles which are lifted by the winds from different places are carried to considerable distances. If the velocity of the wind is very high, then it will be flown to many kilometers. Okay, if the velocity and the speed of the wind is very low, then for a small distance it may be carried off. Okay, during which the grains are always moving in a zigzag manner rather than straight manner. Okay, whenever the particles are being blown away by the wind, the particles always travel in a zigzag manner rather than a straight manner. Okay, so that time what happens is, there are certain wear and tear, that is breaking of the particles are being suffered by them due to the mutual impacts among during the transportation process. Okay, so the particles are colliding against one another when they are moving, the zigzag motion of the particles which collides the particles. Now in a small example, in a road, if you go straight all along a straight line, there is no mutual impacts or any collision or anything like that. If you start assuming a zigzag pattern, what happens is the particles or the vehicles that come from the back are always tending to hit you, is it not? Similarly, if the particles are always assuming a zigzag motion rather than a straight motion, what happens is the particles are almost colliding against one another. So during that process, what happens is the further reduction in the size of the particles increases. Okay, the chances of the reduction of the size of the particles increases. Okay, so this process itself is responsible for the reduction of the size of the particles. Okay, otherwise what happens is if the particles always move in a straight line, the tendency of the particles to reduce or to break down is very low. The chances of the breaking of the particles is very low. Okay, only when the particles assume a zigzag motion, the particles always collide against one another, which is responsible for the breaking down of the particles. Okay, so the intensity of the wind erosion is always dependent on three factors. One is nature of the region, velocity of the wind, and also the duration. Okay, so nature of which the region means if the region is a flat land rather than a mountain, okay, then what happens is the wind usually blows to very long distances. The wind can be flown to very long distances. If there are no trees, if there are no vegetation, if it is only flat land without any vegetation or trees or anything like that, then the wind can move to very far distances like in deserts. Okay, and also the velocity also plays a very major role, and also duration. If it blows for only 1 minute, then the particles that are being flown away or thrown away will not be for considerable distances, only for small distances it may move. Okay, but if the velocity of the wind and the duration is very high, then the particles will be flown to very long distances if it is a flat land without any vegetation or plants, anything like that. Okay, so that's why the wind erosion intensity is always dependent on these three factors. So coming to the transportation, so transportation means it is a process of movement of the eroded particles. It is a process of moving of the eroded particles. Okay, so there are two important modes of transportation. One is suspension and another one is saltation. Okay, one is suspension and another one is saltation. One is suspension and another one is saltation. One is suspension and another one is saltation. So what happens in suspension is that the light density particles like your clay or sand particles, they are lifted from the ground and they are carried from higher layer and they move along the wind. Okay, in saltation what happens is the heavier and the coarse sediments like the sand grains, pebbles and gravels, which are lifted up periodically during high velocity wind, it travels for very short distance. Okay, it travels to very short distances. Again there is drop in the velocity of the wind, the particles fall down. Again when there is the intensity of the wind is being picked up, the particles again are lifted and they travel till the velocity of the wind is maintained. Okay, so in suspension what happens is only the light particles are traveling, only the light particles are being traveling, whereas in saltation what happens is the heavier particles, what happens is they are carried away by the wind erosion. They are carried away by the wind erosion, but when the velocity of the wind drops down, okay, so the particles, what happens is they fall at that place itself. The particles fall at that place itself, and when again there is pickup in the velocity of the wind, it is being further carried. Okay, it is further carried to another place. So what are the types of deposition? This is the, you know, that there is erosion. You know what is transportation. Now finally the eroded particles and the transported particles should be deposited at some places. Okay, so that process where the deposition of the particles at particular places takes place are called as Eoline deposits. Eoline deposits, not alien deposits, Eoline deposits. Okay, so what happens is the load which is being dropped by the wind in a particular region, very may be very small or of a considerable volume. So these winds, what happens is usually they make or take the shape of sand forms, which is known as Eoline deposits. There are two important ones. One is dunes and another one is loesis. Okay, dunes and loesis. Okay, so what are dunes? So these are the variously shaped particles or the deposits of the sand which is being accumulated by the blowing wind. Okay, sand dune is defined as a broadly conical heap of sand with two slopes on both sides, like this. Okay, it will be in the form of parabola. You can see the dunes will be usually in the form of parabola. It will be usually in the form of a parabola. Okay, so dune is developed when the sand leading wind come across some obstruction. So this obstruction only causes the check in the velocity. So they are compelled to drop the particles along them against the obstruction. So they show great variation in shape, size, and also the grouping. Okay, you can see these are the features because you can see the direction. This is the direction of the wind. This is the direction of the wind. The wind is always blowing in this direction. Okay, so this is windward side and this is the leeward side. Okay, so they may ask the question for also write a note on windward side and leeward side of a dune. Okay, which you have to write, explain the transportation, the Eoline deposits itself. Okay, dunes and the loesis. So windward side are the one where the wind blows and leeward side are the one which is opposite to the wind blowing direction. Okay, so due to some obstruction that is being formed here, the wind particles or the sand particles drops at that place itself without further transportation or movement. Okay, there are two important ones. One is a crescentic dune and barchans. So crescentic dunes means it is characterized by two slopes. Windward is convex in nature. It has a well defined crust. Okay, so it has got two parts, slip face and the cusps. You can see in a crescentic dune, it has got a well defined crust. Okay, crescent nature of the sand particles can be noticed here. It is in the form of crescent shape, that is in the moon shape. Okay, usually after your full moon or new moon, you can see the third day or the fourth day, you can see the moon. Okay, that type of moon can be seen even in this type of deposits of the dunes. Okay, so that's why it is called as a crescentic dune. It represents the crescent. That is your another name for your moon itself. Okay, so next one is your barchan. So these are the types of the crescentic dune which resembles the half moon shaped dunes. That is exactly on the eighth day. Okay, exactly on the eighth day, you can see the moon will be in this itself, half formed moon, not the full formed moon, but the half formed moon. Okay, so if any deposits resembles the half formed moon type deposits, then they are usually called as barchans. Okay, crescentic ones are the ones which are very small in nature, like your second day or the third day after the full moon or new moon. Okay, it may resemble a full moon or a new moon after the 2 days after a full moon or new moon, but these barchans are the ones which represents the half formed moon, that is on your eighth day of your either full moon or your new moon. Okay, so next are the loesis. Loesis are the ones which are used to for the wind blown deposits of silt and clay grade particles. Okay, usually they are of the silt and clay grade particles. So typical loesis are unconsolidated, they are unstratified. Unconsolidated means they are not consolidated to form a single rock. They are not stratified, they are unstratified in nature. They do not form a strata. Okay, layers like arrangement, and also they are porous accumulation of the particles with the size range of 0.01 to 0.05 millimeter in diameters. Okay, so this size fraction itself makes almost 40% of the particular loess deposit, and the rest peak made up of still finer clay and the grade material, clay grade materials. Okay, so now this is one of the valley. Okay, so this is one of the mountain, and all along the mountains you can see the valleys. All along the valleys you get some of the waters that are being flowing, which are called as gullies erosion. You can see all along the mountains, you can see the small streams and the streamlets that flow with water during your rainy season, so during which there is erosion or the removal of the topmost loose layer of the soil, which is particularly silt and clay in nature. Okay, so those silt and clay deposits are usually filled up here, which forms the lowest deposits. Okay, so coming to the engineering consideration, this is very important here. Okay, they asked for the landforms or else for the engineering consideration. Why these landforms, wind landforms are very important or has to be looked or checked during your constructions. So dunes may travel for considerable distances in any direction, and in that process it may bury many agricultural land and also the forests. Okay, so you might have heard in newspapers, or you might have seen, or you might have read in the newspapers, or you might have seen in the televisions that during very monsoons, onset of the monsoons, there is huge amount of the storms that take place, and when the storms takes place, the particles are being flown away. Okay, so when the particles are flowing away, the particles usually take up with them the silt particles and the clay particles. Okay, whenever the silt particles and clay particles along with sand particles are deposited on an agricultural field, then they cause certain damage to the flown agricultural plot. Okay, so the method to prevent this is establishing contour tracks or belts of vegetation. That's why what they say is, why very close to the flatlands, when the land is not occupied by any buildings, any trees or any vegetations, why they check them is, they usually they build or they establish the belts of vegetation, so that it advances the sand by checking the velocity. Okay, and also construction of windbreaks or walls along the areas should be protected. And also what happens is, lowest soil settles down easily and quickly in the presence of moisture, so these form very dangerous to the foundation soils, because lowest soil usually contains of silt and clay particles. If joul mannu ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, if in Kannada I have to say very precise means joul mannu. Okay, so quicksand, one more example is your quicksand. So how do you define a quicksand? You might have seen the Magadhara film, wherein sand starts to absorb everything. Okay, it starts to absorb everything. That is well shown in your Magadhara film. Okay, similarly, if lowest soil is present, it starts to bring down all the particles within them. Then if you build any construction on the foundation in that lowest soil, then the chances of failure is very high. So that's why I have to have a very careful observation on the lowest soils. Okay, so with this we complete the discussion now. So if you got any questions, you can ask me. If there is no questions, then you can drop in your attendance and we shall continue discussion in tomorrow's class. Thank you.